I was recently persuaded into watching the Twilight series, and we just finished the full 5 films, and this is the biggest thing that takes me out of the series, the biggest issue that I have with the series. And I can't speak on the books. Like I said, I just finished watching the films, the movie adaptations, so this is the biggest issue that I have with the films. And no, it's not Taylor Lautner's terrible acting. It's not the inconsistency of when they're in the sunlight. The vampires are in the sunlight and they shine because they'll be in it, not shine in it in other times, and they'll be all glittery. It's not that. And lastly, no, it is not the terrible CGI baby, which just looks absolutely terrible in the closing of the penultimate film, and then also the final film all throughout it. The CGI baby it hurts to look at. So you're probably asking yourself right now, what is the issue so big that it ruins the entire series for him? And to begin to dive into it, we have to go from where it originated, and that is in the 4th film, Breaking Dawn Part 1, I believe, where Bella and Edward are getting married. This is the wedding scene that contains just the worst part of the series to me. Throughout the wedding, we see large groups of people, whether it's the wide-angle shot of Bella and Edward actually on the podium or whatever you call it, getting married, and everybody in the audience, or whether it's after that and everybody's dancing. We also get a shot of just a large crowd of people standing in front of the house, and we don't see really any cars here, and that's the issue. That's where are the cars here? So this is kind of where I started to kind of sit back while I was watching it, and something in my gut knew that what I was seeing wasn't right. So you have all these people, I would say maybe around 50 at least, judging from the images. No, I haven't actually done a head count. I haven't gone and counted every single person and determined whether or not I accidentally counted them twice. If they showed up in a different scene, I accidentally counted them there. I'm just going to make a guess that it's around 50 people at least. So we say there are 50 people, and everybody comes with their +1. We get 2 people to a car. That means 25 cars coming to this wedding. And I guess, if you really want to, let's say that they pack all these cars, it's really unlikely that they all, carpool together. But let's say we put 4 people in each car, and we have, a little over 10 cars arriving at the wedding. But we don't see many of these cars. And where it gets really troubling is when you look at the driveway. So this is what I was thinking about while the 2 were getting married. And I haven't actually been to a wedding, but I've been to plenty of graduations which have, way more than that many people. And there's always an issue when you're having a large gathering at somebody's house and parking just becomes a nightmare. People are going to be talking about it, and not one person mentioned anything at the wedding. So as this went on, I was like, okay, maybe their driveway is set up in maybe like a horseshoe manner, so it's not too bad to deal with. Traffic might not be bad. Maybe they live on a large street. And I kind of had the assumption that it would be how it did actually play out because of the surroundings that their house appears to be in. It looks like it's in the middle of the woods. And when you finally do get a look at their driveway, I think this is around the same time we see the large group of like 50 or so people standing in front of the house. We get a look at the driveway, and it is just that of a private driveway. It looks very small. So this is a major issue. And no, I didn't want to go back and watch more of the films to see what their driveway might be represented as in the films. Instead, I just went to Google Maps, found the house, and looked at the actual real driveway that is used for this house that was used on the filming, on the set of the Twilight series, the Collins house, if you will. I forget exactly what it's called. The address, if you don't believe me, is 3333 Northwest Quibley Street in Portland, Oregon. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the actual street that the Twilight house resides on. Exhibit A. Alright, this should be a little bit better. And I actually just got a printer, so this is the perfect trial for that. We can actually try to print off the image I want to show you guys. We can do a little investigative style. I don't know, is this thing even on? So now that I've used Now, what is the purpose of this? Why? Anyway, now that I've used half of my colored ink from my new printer, we have Exhibit A that I was mentioning. As you can clearly see here, it says House of the Movie Twilight. We should have the address down there, but I guess what they printed off was about formatting correctly. This is a screenshot. And then I took the liberty of circling. This is the street that the house actually resides on. So Quimbley Street, you can see this is a one-way street now, and there's also a dead end down here. And as you will see further on, this dead end is just that, a dead end. It's not a cul-de-sac. It doesn't have like a big circle to turn around in or anything. This is Exhibit A. I have a marker here somewhere. So with a little bit of concern for my printer ink, I'm going to switch up the method that we go about laying out this evidence quick. Maybe you can see that, I don't know. Anyway, I have something to put over here. All right, here we go. This is where they live. Now, like I said, we have the one-way street here, circled, dead end right here, and then this is the actual house. So this is pretty much all the evidence we need from this view. What we actually want to do now is go into the street view, I think they call it. So we drop this little man down here and we get a look from the street, hence the street view. We go down to the end and you will notice that the street really doesn't get too much wider. Actually, it doesn't get wider at all. So to even, contradict what I was saying, the street is super narrow at the end. This doesn't offer any advantage to driving down to the end of the road to turn around, and there definitely isn't any way for them to easily loop around. You're gonna have to do a Y-turn at least to get out of here, and I've seen a lot of people who can't do that. Now, all that was part of Exhibit A, but we're going to move on to Exhibit B, which is just going to be on the screen for now. So we now have Exhibit B right here, and what I want you to take note of is the size of the car and then also the size of the road. So we can actually move down a little bit to get maybe a different perspective on this, but it's really not going to help out the case of the movie at all, really. So I guess we'll back up just a little bit more so you guys can get a blown up view of the street itself. But as you can see here, we have the Land Rover parked on the right side there. It'd probably be difficult fitting two of these on the road, just judging from this view here. The car looks pretty wide compared to the road. Like, the road really doesn't look that wide. We have the cars going one way this way, and then they're gonna have to turn around and go back down this way, and that's gonna be really narrow. And another obvious thing I should have pointed out is that this is the only parking they have available. We could fit maybe 4 cars here, maybe 4. I'm guessing comfortably 3, 4 is definitely pushing it. You're gonna have to line up the majority of your guests parking along this side of the road, which really doesn't offer much space. So that means people are going to be parking on this side of the road, which is already narrow, and then to get out, they're going to have to go all the way down, do some type of Y-turn at the end, and then come all the way back, which is going to create a huge congestion. So from here, we'll take you guys to Exhibit C, our final exhibit, and possibly the most damning one. So for this one, we're going to have to turn around, and I'm probably blocking the screen so you guys can't even see it, but I think we need to go back down the street just one more time. And this is really the view that I want to look at right here specifically. This is a good view that shows off kind of the shoulder of the road, if you guys even want to call this a shoulder. Look at how narrow it is. It's super narrow, very steep also, and then the portion that is actually level with the road is covered in large sharp rocks surely going to puncture your tire if you do drive over them. So to wrap things up, the creators of Twilight expect us to watch the wedding scene where there's a ton of people attending a large gathering on a one-way street where the house is on the very end of the road. Their driveway offers 3 to 4 parking spots, 3 comfortably, we'll say. The end is not a cul-de-sac or large in any nature, and doesn't offer an easy return route for any traffic, suggesting that people are going to have to park on the side of the road, which is barely wide enough for 2 cars, and then the shoulder of that road is covered in sharp rocks and has a very steep drop-off. Come on. I am aware the whole series is based around werewolves and vampires, but all these people attending a gathering with a parking disaster like this one, and nobody, not one single person, not even Charlie, complaining about the parking situation, is a whole new level of fantasy. That's it. That's my issue with Twilight.